What's up guys? In today's video, we're gonna talk all about where to put the money you keep in your business. So a lot of people will say it's very easy to make money, but very hard to keep it. So I'm gonna show you how when you start making money inside your business, how to keep it so that you don't just make a ton and go broke. So stay tuned. What's up guys, Harris Chister here teaching you how to build a profitable online business. Now, today's video is about where to put the money that you make. A lot of people say, hey Tanner, I know at this point that you've made good money in your business, you've had a lot of funds, so where do you put it to protect it? Because at the end of the day, what'll happen with some business owners is they'll make a ton of money and spend it all on a lot of dumb stuff. They'll have a recession or something bad will happen in their business and they realize like, oh my gosh, like I made all this money and I don't have anything to show for it. So there's kind of three places you can put it. Now, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. This is, for entertainment and demonstration purposes only. So please, before you do anything, find a financial advisor, find a lawyer, find someone who is, educated in this area. But here's what I do based off what I know, the research I've done, and, just having a smart team and people to help me. So the first thing is obviously, if you want to accrue wealth quickly, okay, and you're starting from scratch, the first place you want to start is inside the business, okay? Inside the business. Now, in my opinion, until you have a business that's doing at least 7 figures, I do not believe you should do anything else. The highest ROI you will receive is coming from businesses in the quickest amount of time. So, in my business currently, if we're doing anywhere between $1 million a month plus, after all the payouts, dividends, etc., to my team, my employees, ad spend, I'm still making a tremendous amount of money in my business. If I were to put it into real estate or savings or anything like that, it's just gonna basically sit there. Real estate, guys, the people who make the money are the ones who's selling the real estate, right? Who's acquiring the property and then selling it. That's who really makes the money, not the person who is giving them the funds to invest. If you're making a 1% return, if you invest $50,000 and you make 500, who cares? Really, honestly, it's not gonna change your life. You'd have to invest millions of dollars into real estate, millions and millions to really make a significant return. So for example, if you wanted to make $100,000 a month, you'd literally have to invest almost $10 million into real estate at a 1% return. So here's what I would do. Build this to 7 figures. Now, the first thing I would do once you've done that is take your money and put it into whole life policies. Now, there's a lot of intricacies to this, so I don't want to go into it too in depth on this video, but I don't put it into whole life policies just for insurance. That's what most people think. So if you just put it into a whole life policy for insurance purposes, it doesn't make sense. The point of a whole life policy is to use it as a bank. Now, when I say that, think of how banks make money. You give them money, they lend it out to people at an interest rate, and then they make money off your money. Does that make sense? So think about it. You give a bank 100 grand, the bank takes the 100 grand, gives it to someone else at 18% interest, and they will make, let's say $18,000 by the time they pay it back. That's a great return, and they didn't have to take any risk. It was your money to begin with, right? Does that make sense? So the same thing applies for a whole life policy. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make your dollar work twice. So for example, what Dave Ramsey teaches and what I just think is horrible advice is he'll say pay cash, don't use credit, etc. Which is a great way to get by, but not a great way to get rich. So here's what I would suggest is, let's say you make $100,000 a month, okay? And you put 100 grand inside this policy and you wanna buy a house and the down payment's 100 grand. Well, here's the cool part. In a whole life policy, you're usually making 5% interest or more depending how aggressive it is. In a savings account, if you put that same money in a savings account, you're usually getting 1%, so who cares? Right? Or less, maybe like 0.5, it's really bad. So check this out. If you left this in for 5 years at 5% interest, you would make in 5 years, $25,000 plus if you pull against this, right? I could pull against this 100 grand I put in because it's my money. I take a loan against myself, purchase the house, and then slowly put the money back in, let's say over 5 years. Well, by the time you put the money back in, not only do you have the 100 grand back, but you just made $25,000 on top of it. That is what's called leveraged income, okay? This is what I do a lot in my business is I take money, I put them into these policies, and then when I wanna make a purchase, big purchase, or invest in a coach, or buy a car or a house, I will pull against this while you're paying it back, as long as you pay it back, you will continue to accrue that interest at 5% or more. That's the best, and it's safe. It's not gonna go, if it either will go up or it will stay the same. It's not going to be like the stock market where it goes up and down. At the end of the day, you want very low risk investments, because like putting your money in the stock market is not a good decision. It's like going to a casino. You may win, you may lose. I like putting it here because I know I have a guaranteed 5% or more, right? I can pull against it to buy other assets. And then as long as I pay it back, I keep the death benefits, the dividends, everything. It's one of the best and most underutilized ways to accrue your wealth and save it. Warren Buffett does this. A lot of the big names do it. It's just not talked about very often. This was something I learned a long time ago. Now, if you're starting to make, let's say, $250,000 or more, the next step I would go is maybe do a little bit of real estate. I'm not huge on it, but I do like to diversify a little bit. I've only got like maybe 6 figures worth in real estate. I make a little bit every month. And going forward, I'm probably gonna stay away from investing. I'm just gonna buy properties myself and make money that way, because then I can also sell it, and then I control the outcome and the asset versus giving someone my money and let them get rich off of me. This business is great if you're the person buying the properties and setting up the deals. It's not that great if you're the one giving the money away, because yeah, you're making some money, but to be honest, it's not gonna change your life, right? So I would start here. If you have a little more cash, then I put some of it here. Now, after that, if you're really making big money, right? So let's say you're making, you know, 500,000 plus a month, okay? And these are just ballparks, but guys, like, the first thing you should do is get this business to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, before you really start thinking about investing. People are like, well, hey, Tanner, I make 30 grand a month. Where should I put my money? I'm like, right here in your business, because that's what's gonna make you money. The last thing you would do is go to other businesses, and this is the most aggressive. So right now, what I'm looking into is possibly buying other businesses. Well, why? Well, let's just throw out ballpark numbers. Let's say in my business, after payouts and so forth, I make 250K a month or something. Okay, I'm just gonna throw out a random number. Could be higher, could be lower, just throw it out. Well, think about this. Let's say my margins are 40%. Okay, so we'll just say 50% so that I don't have to do math. So 50% margins, let's say I'm doing 500 grand a month, I get 50% margins. Now, here's the cool thing. If I was to increase this revenue by, like, say another 200-300 grand, I might only take home myself like another like 75 grand. But I just grew the business by, you know, another 33%, 40%. Here's what the smart guys do, and this is how you get kind of $100 million type wealth. You take the money you're making and then you go and purchase other businesses, right? So if I was to go purchase, let's say, a business for 2 million, another business for 5 million, obviously you either have to get investors or you have to have enough money saved up from your business to do this. But then let's say you're doing 250 from this business, this business, this business, this business. That's how you start making a lot of wealth. And then eventually you sell the businesses, right? If you have a good business, you could sell it a 4 to 5x multiple on average. Now, my current business right now, if I was to sell for that, it would sell anywhere between, you know, 20 to 40 mil, depending on what they want to give me. Okay, maybe more. The cool thing, now that's if it would sell. Service-based businesses are a little harder to sell versus a product, because it's more systems and operations versus an actual product you're selling. But hopefully you're staying with me on this. I know it's a lot, but think about it. If I sell my business, amazing. If I don't, I use this cash flow every month to go buy other businesses and assets that will make me money faster. This is the fastest way to grow. Buying other businesses and assets, using your systems to build the marketing. Because a lot of businesses, they make okay money, but they really don't know how to market. So if I go buy a business that's doing $1 million a year, I could take that to 10 and then sell it. And on top of that, I'm making profit along the way. That's really the fastest way to scale. These two ways are kind of slow, but when you start to make money, you want to be safe. This is the base of the pyramid. And then I might put a little here or skip it and then put the rest of your money here if you're trying to grow as fast as possible. My goal is, again, guys, like, the goal is not to make $100 million at 80 and die. The goal is, like, if you really wanted to make that type of money, let's make it when you're young. Let's make it when you're under 40, under 50, so that you have the rest of your life to enjoy it. So hope that makes sense. I know it's a lot. Hopefully Isaiah will make it pretty. If you have questions, just drop them down below. I know this can seem kind of confusing, but this is literally the path in my head that I'm following right now that's really led me to a lot of success. And I have my money in safe places so that, you know, if the economy crashed today or I lost my business, I didn't make another dollar, I have a ton of that money saved up in good assets that it's safe and I'm not gonna have to start from scratch. So that's all I got for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below or a question, and I'll see you guys in the next one.